Hello and welcome back to the Weird and Proud podcast. It's Sam and
James.
James. Someone had left a voicemail this week, and I'm not. It was a story too, but maybe I'll put it later. But it was someone had said that they love the intro song and it gets stuck in their head.
It's a great intro song.
It's like kind of a banger.
It is. We need to do a full recording.
I know.
Yeah. Music video.
Oh my God, a music video.
I think 80s style, like a genre 80s.
Like a George Michael's.
Yes, absolutely. So what we need, for homework tonight, should we binge watch best 80s MTV videos?
Yeah, James and I have been really into we're kind of like going into the past. Like we were watching Twister last night. And we talked about how much we need to watch 90s movies.
Am I bringing out the 1996 movie list right now?
Well,
should I read it for the people?
Well, I mean,
we have to now.
You have to. So basically, I don't even know how we started talking about this, but we saw the movie Twister. It was available on whatever streaming. And Twister was one of my favorite, most nostalgic movies. Like, I feel like it was that first movie like I really remember as a kid watching and like having a visceral reaction. Like, it was scary, like it was action filled. I just remember being like, that is the craziest movie I've ever seen.
I think it was thinking about that last night while we were watching it.
It's so
the
good.
Writers and producers did such a good job of making it friendly for everybody.
Yeah, like they didn't even swear.
Nope.
Like, I think the rating might have been
very
PG.
few people died. No animals were harmed.
Yeah, it was not graphic, but it was so good.
For kids, it would be thrilling and scary.
Yeah, right.
But it was at that time, and I remember exactly what it was about. You were like, what? You said you were going, how old were you?
Well, if it was in 1996, I was 6.
I was going to be a senior in high school.
That is always mind-boggling every time. Like we
talk about that,
and you're like, "Oh, I was." Yeah.
It was all about the special effects, stuff like that.
Yeah,
had been, of course, happening in movies, but not to the realistic level that it happened in Twister. At that time, you're like, movies will never get better than this.
No. But obviously, like, you see it now and you're like,
did the special effects get better? Of course.
Yep.
But here's my argument as to why movies didn't get better.
Why?
And let's go to the list.
Oh, yeah. So basically, we were like talking about after we watched it. We're like,
oh, no, we were
just
talking.
Are not.
We were talking about movies during movies. I was doing a lot of talking during the movie.
And we were like, the 90s had some of the best movies because I feel like special effects were like really starting to get good.
For sure. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say they just, it was like they just weren't as insane. Like, I feel like now people are just like trying to, make headline or like get the, trying to just be who has the craziest movie coming out. Like, Somewhere, Everywhere, All at Once. I think of that movie and it was amazing, but it's like there's so much going on. The special effects are crazy. And it's like, what happened to just like a good old-fashioned tornado movie?
And the craziness in it is good, and the lessons are so topical. It really does talk about what we go through as people these days, right?
But it's
everything has to have a message and a meaning.
Right.
When back then a movie was just a movie. It was a movie.
It like reminds me, there's like this Nicole Kidman ad that was going around about like AMC theaters, and she does this whole thing. She's like, it's a movie. Movies bring us something and bring us this emotion, and it's just reminds me. Anyways,
I'm going to read the list because I think that this speaks to.
Yeah, then we looked up the top movies that came out in 1996, which is when Twister came out.
Because I knew there was one. I feel bad that I didn't answer this without looking up, but I knew there was a movie that had beat Twister at the box office. And it's actually one of the highest grossing movies of all time. But I'm going to start at the bottom.
And try and guess it in your head.
Here's your top 10 grossing movies of 1996.
Yep.
And tell me that this list isn't just baller. Iconic. If all these movies came out now, they would crush so many of the movies coming out. Number 10, Space Jam. Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
Number 9, Jerry Maguire. Tom Cruise. Number
Tom
8,
Cruise.
Nutty Professor, which needs to be on our list. Are you kidding me?
Classic.
Absolutely. Oh,
keep going.
He plays all the different roles, like
oh my
Hercules,
God.
Hercules, Hercules.
Oh my God, Hercules. Classic.
Ransom.
I don't know that one.
Classic Mel Gibson movie.
Oh, I was gonna say that one.
Give me back my son. That's the famous line from it.
I don't know.
Okay, you'd see it on a commercial.
Okay.
By the way, the next 4 movies, starting with Ransom, they're all released by one distributor. Buena Vista released all of these movies, so good for them.
Good for
Number
them.
6, Little Family, Little Disney, 101 Dalmatians.
Classic.
Number 5, staying in the Disney realm, The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Wow.
Number 4, this goes on my list of all-time rewatchable movies that may or may not be terrible, but I love it. The Rock. Love me The Rock. Great movie. Sean Connery, Nick Cage at his peak.
Yep.
Ed Harris as the bad guy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, James is living in this. This was your prime.
This is my prime. This is my prime. I saw all these movies. Outside of like Hunchback of Notre Dame and 101 Dalmatians, I think I saw every one of these in the theater, actually.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Yep. What?
Mission Impossible. Another Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise on there twice.
This is his prime.
And that's like the Mission Impossible where the commercial had him like hanging down from a ceiling.
Yeah.
Nobody did their own stunts like that.
No one hangs down from ceilings.
Now they all
like
do.
Tom Cruise.
Now everyone does. Back then, no. Number 2 was Twister.
Yep.
And number 1.
Number 1, guys, what do you think it is?
Epic film, Independence Day.
Independence Day.
I mean, we're talking about Randy Quaid's greatest role since National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, when he was the guy that said shitter was full, and he was amazing in Independence Day. Will Smith, of course. You got a little Jeff Goldblum.
Yep.
Those
were the days.
Jeff Goldblum. Wait, no, what's that? Post Jurassic Park? That might have been post Jurassic Park, the first one. But there was a lot of good things going on.
You just don't. And that's just 96. We could go through all the 90s. We won't.
We're going to do little bits if the people give good feedback.
I was going to say,
it's summertime. We're going to review years of summer blockbuster movies.
Summer blockbuster movies. What do you guys think?
Old school summer blockbuster movies.
Yeah.
There's the review for today. Check out your lists. Call in with some of your favorite summer blockbusters.
Yeah.
It's summertime. Let's hear your summer blockbusters.
And you should rewatch. This is your sign to rewatch Twister. What a just classic. A classic. I was on the edge of my seat. I already seen it 20 times and I was still on the edge of my seat. What was that other? There was a volcano movie. I love the natural disasters.
They back then. They used to release all the movies 2 at a time.
It was.
I believe one was Dante's Peak.
Dante's Peak.
Yep.
Wow, that one changed me forever. There's still some scenes in that I still think about to this day. Oh. The grandma walking into the water.
I got to put that on our list. I started a list for us last night.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyways, that's like what
check out your summer blockbusters.
Just going through like top 90s movies and reliving our past. Because I mean, it just we don't even know about new movies coming out anymore. It's really sad. It's like we were saying, we haven't been to the movie theater since way before COVID.
We walked by the theater last night, even before Twister, and I was like, we need to go to a movie.
I know, but there's nothing good. I don't want to see John Wick 7 or what's the car movie that's like number 10, Fast and Furious.
No, I won't go see Fast and Furious. Not 27. A fan of that franchise.
It's like...
You know what movie? So, fine, here's one.
I want a tornado and I want a volcano.
Chris Nolan has a new movie coming out.
What?
Oppenheimer.
Stupid.
It's kind of a history movie, but
no,
it's very interesting.
Dumb. But anyways, we have a great show for you. I'm sorry for that little rant, but
that was not planned.
That was not
I was just excited about that list.
But also kind of planned because that's just what we've been talking about. That's just naturally our conversation recently. It's just like 90s things. But we're going to talk about weird stuff that you need to watch. Weird review you need to watch. The Natalia Grace. I'm going to talk a little bit about that new documentary that just came out. We have a weird story too, weird news story that's very relevant. And then obviously we have our weird secrets. So first, since we're on the topic of movies and TV, the Natalia Grace documentary, the true story, I forget what the exact title of it, but the Natalia Grace story if you like keep up on like pop culture news, not even pop culture, but I just feel like I heard a lot of podcasts talking about this a couple of years ago. And I remember seeing it in like, the New York Post, whatever the New York Post counts as, definitely not regular news, some sort of pop culture. But there was this girl who was an orphan from Ukraine named Natalia Grace, who was adopted by these two parents, this husband and wife that lived, I think it's Indiana, and they adopted this girl who also has dwarfism. So she's naturally small, but she also is 6 years old, or supposedly 6 years old. And it's like 5-part documentary. So interesting. Basically, long story short, and not to give away too many spoilers, but if you even heard about this case, you'll probably have heard that there was this whole trial that this husband and wife were claiming that Natalia Grace was actually a 22-year-old woman. And she was basically manipulating them to get, like a free house and free food, and was trying to live and mooch off these people. But she really was a 22-year-old woman. And it goes through, it starts off where you are on the husband and wife side, where you're like, oh my God, this is definitely a 22-year-old. Like she, apparently had her period. She apparently was she looked developed. She had boobs, she had pubic hair, she talked maturely. If you see some photos, like they tried to claim that she like had facial structures that were more mature beyond a 6-year-old, because it's hard to tell, too, with someone with dwarfism. Naturally they're going to be small, they're not going to, I forget how tall she was, but it's not like, she's going to be as tall or look like a normal, an average 22-year-old who doesn't have dwarfism. So it is a wild, wild story. And James watched some of it with me, but you missed a couple parts because I was watching on the plane.
Couple questions.
When we were going to Austin.
Questions for the people.
Yes.
Which streaming service can I find this on? Do we
so
know?
It's on Investigation Discovery, and I believe I just saw
Discovery
it on HBO
Channel?
Max. So it's on Discovery Plus for sure.
We have Discovery Plus. Okay.
But I saw that it was just on HBO Max too. And it's just a really crazy story. At the end of the day, it's also just like dark and sad. Like I was seeing some people are talking about it's just, it's a sad story. I don't want to like give it away.
Don't do that.
Yeah, and like say what ends up happening, but worth a watch, and it's
even for the parts I was watching.
Yeah,
I will back that. It was at one production.
I couldn't stop watching it, and I had heard a little bit about it, and I remember even just looking it up because I'm like, yeah, what does happen? Because they go to trial in 2022, so like this was recent. And I remember in like again like on New York Post in 2021, there was the story. It came out that this couple had adopted this girl from Ukraine who was pretending to be a 6-year-old, but she was really 22, and it was like being printed as facts.
Great. It was great production value. The writing was really well done, and you could tell. Even me coming in the middle of it, it was good. It's one of those really well done shows, and it was so intriguing to think about.
Lots of twists and turns. It reminded me.
I still don't know the end, and I don't want to hear it. So
yeah, I know you should watch it.
That's why. Don't tell me. Don't tell us.
Yeah, but watch that documentary if you need something weird to watch. And it is a little
definitely
sad
weird
and dark, obviously, especially because it's has children involved. But craziness. Oh, and I also forgot too, we haven't even chatted since we went to Austin, and I meant to catch up on that too, do a small recap, because when I think about watching the Natalia Grace documentary, I just think about being at the La Quinta, the 2-star hotel that we stayed at.
Would you give it 2 stars?
No, it's on, like, actually I don't even know what it would be rated.
Let's start with the positives, because I always like that. Austin's amazing.
Yes,
I
was gonna say
Austin,
I think
Texas.
we were just about to leave for Austin last podcast, but Austin was amazing. We had so much fun. The City of Weird. I'm sure you guys may have seen some of the content we got.
And everyone's so nice. And
yes,
we had some great chats. We learned a lot about this city.
Yes.
We stayed being by the Capitol was kind of cool to be in that area.
It was. Yeah, we stayed downtown
Texas
for the first couple
Capitol,
nights. And then with the show, it was in like the northern part of Austin. So we did stay at a hotel. The comedy club put us up at a much nicer hotel. That was a little farther north, like 20 minutes from downtown. But the first couple nights, just staying in downtown was really cool. We were scootering everywhere. They have a lot of cool bars. Obviously, like I can see why like college kids, a lot of bachelorette parties. They have this 6th Street, which is we were saying gives like a lot of like New Orleans Bourbon Street vibes.
Very much Bourbon Street vibes.
Yeah, like it's,
except a little more in a positive way hipster.
Yeah. It wasn't as, I don't know. It was definitely obviously different during the day versus at night. And it's not like we were going out at 1 a.m, but
it was like it was night and day.
Yeah. It was like it was night and day.
Almost like that.
But at nighttime it was popping, and they kind of like closed it off so cars can't really drive through. It was really cool. Lots of bars. Also, apparently Austin is the live music capital of the US, which I still don't know if that actually
I think it is.
It's true.
There's so many live music places there.
And
we heard some. I love the live music.
There was live music everywhere. There's all these little outdoor venues that you could just like walk into, and there were bands and music playing. It was really cool, and it's become quite the little comedy city too.
And live performance in general.
Yeah,
I think.
Live performance in general.
And the food, of course, we love the food, and everyone knows the meat in Texas. Oh my God, the meat was so good.
Barbecue,
the
best tacos.
The best surprise was the tacos.
The Tex-Mex.
We know Tex-Mex, of course, is big in Texas, Tex-Mex, but I fell in love with the tacos
James
in Austin.
Wanted tacos,
I wanted tacos every meal.
The tacos were amazing.
Yep.
You can't get them like that up here. Up north with us Yankees. But we had so much fun other than the La Quinta experience. So the first couple nights, like obviously, the comedy club will get you a hotel for like, for a couple nights while you're doing the show. But, we were there for like 5-6 days.
We wanted to check out more.
Yeah. And I was like, I do want to stay downtown. And of course I waited last minute, and the weekend we were there, apparently it was like, there was like the Austin, Texas TV conference.
There was a lot of conferences because I had to take a conference call myself. I went down to more the main hotel area right by downtown. I don't know how to say it. But wait, it was down there, and there were all different kinds of conferences.
There's a ton of people there. And so there weren't a lot of options, or it was just super expensive. And I saw there was a La Quinta downtown. The location was amazing, which is probably the only good thing about it. But it was super cheap. It was like $80 a night, which
good price.
That's crazy. And it's a La Quinta. Like I was like, it can't be that bad. Like I saw their, it had like reviews were like 2 stars, but I wasn't looking like too much into it. I'm like, again, what's the worst it's gonna be? It's owned by Wyndham. Like I've stayed at La Quintas before.
It was worse than 2 stars.
Yeah.
No. And that's being just nice.
You guys, this hotel, like I didn't want to I don't know, I didn't want to like post too much about it to be annoying, but there was black mold, cobwebs, old food on the floor. There were stains. I mean, I like triple checked a million times for bed bugs. Luckily, I looked the bed over and the sheets, and those were fine. But the shower, the bathroom, it smelled musty. You walked in and it smelled like moldy. It was just, but like in my head, and both of us, we were like, whatever, we're not even going to be in the room.
We were barely in there. We slept there,
and then we're in.
We'd maybe come back and change after being out in the Texas heat all day.
Yeah, but that was probably the worst hotel I've ever stayed at.
I've stayed at worse, but just in like
recent
traveling
history.
And needing a place to stay overnight for no reason. Some of when I've had to make treks across the country or whatever, and you just kind of pull over. You're like, I'm going to drive till I need to sleep, and you just kind of stop. I think one was like a Red Roof Inn or something.
I know Red Roof Inn. I've done.
But this was just I feel bad even talking about it. There's some great La Quintas. There's some great Wyndham Hotels is fantastic.
Yeah.
In general.
I think this was just like an off.
They did not pay attention to this one.
It was like an anomaly. It was like, I don't even know if La Quinta knows.
Even the staff there said it. They're like, "Oh yeah, people don't." Like. The poor girl at the front desk was so awesome. Oh my god, and she was so sweet.
I felt bad, but like we walk in and she's like, "Just like this place is a dump." Like,
in other words, when you get a 2-star review on Google, they might mean something.
Yeah, honestly, it was so bad, but it was cheap. It was best location. We could walk to everything downtown.
A lot of scooters. We love a scooter city.
We love a scooter city.
Scooters are the best in cities. Absolutely.
Yeah. Had an amazing show. It was fun. Minus, again, but we were never.
You did awesome in your show.
Thank you.
And if anyone listening was at the show, thank you for coming.
Yes.
If someone listening was part of live secrets at the show,
yes.
If you like the secrets part and you come to one of her shows, you'll get to see secrets live. The Austin was weird. We had some really good participants.
Some really
good. They were great.
Yeah, it was really good. So all in all, a great trip.
Tacos.
Can't wait to come back. I would say the one thing that I wish that we did, other than getting a better hotel downtown, was
eat more tacos.
More tacos, but also getting a car. I know there were some people like we didn't get to do the Texas Chainsaw Massacre place, which I'm so sorry we didn't get to go there. But I was like, oh shit, it's an hour away.
There was a lot to do.
Yeah.
We had a lot.
And like traffic was like a real thing. And like there were some times we got a little caught. And I was like,
for our first trip, I think we did it the right way.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Next time we come to Texas, because I would love to, drive around, see, outside the city, go to a rodeo, go to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, go to some of these other hidden gem barbecue spots. But great first time. We will be back. All right. So if you also have been kind of paying attention, again, to like the New York Post style of news, you may have seen this in the news, but recently, this has happened in the last week, there have been more UFO sightings. So this is your weird news story for the day. And this is so specific. So basically, some local residents of Las Vegas call in, I think it was June 1st. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. May 1st. That they said that they think a UFO has crashed in their backyard. And they saw 8 to 10 feet tall, skinny alien creatures with greenish color in their backyard on May 1st. And they called the police. They called 911. And they literally have this all recorded. Like, you can watch the video, you can watch the body cam footage. But this guy says, I looked at it in the eyes and my body just froze like I was having sleep paralysis, says the witness. The alien had a weird looking face, big feet, big shiny eyes, and a big mouth. Was it me? Some people might think I'm an alien. He goes, I can hear its loud, deep breathing, and its stomach was moving. He would just stare at me, and then all of a sudden, seconds later, I could move again. And he called 911 at 12:25 a.m. on May 1st. And like in the voicemail, he's like, these are not human, 100%. These are not human. I swear to God, I'm not joking. This is real. And apparently, also what came out is that the police officers, the same ones that got called, were also in a New York Post article, were saying that they had just recently seen these weird flashes of light in the sky. He's like 20 minutes. One of the police officers was like 20 minutes before these guys called. We were like maybe 5-10 minutes away in Las Vegas and saw these crazy lights. Like it looked like it was like some sort of spinning multiple lights that was not an aircraft in the sky. And then 20 minutes later, James, what do you think? Think the UFOs are coming?
Sounds like it.
Right? They're on the way.
I mean,
they're already here.
The government, what was it, a year or two ago? They did release some of the official things that UFOs may exist and that the Air Force wants our help. They want society's help. And this is a newer article that came out, I guess. wants our help in identifying them.
Yeah. Well, I was looking to the USA Today. I was reading another article that they had just came out with, and they were saying in the last 5 years, the US government has received over 510 reports of unidentified aerial phenomena. 510, James.
Now
Can't deny it.
There's a flip side to some of this.
Drugs.
Maybe. But more so,
it's not real.
When you tell someone not to pay attention to red cars, all they see is red cars.
Right.
So there's going to be more reports. Also, there's some of this will be fluff in the numbers, meaning some of these people just want attention. Maybe more people are just cognizant of what could be out there.
Yeah.
And then there's the I guess it's a conspiracy theory side of that really the government used aliens back in the Roswell crash in New Mexico to more so cover up and distract the U.S. population from what they were really doing down there in the military. Right. So there's a lot of misinformation out there about that. But guess we'll get to find out. Are they real? Are they not? Was it a misinformation spin by the government?
Who knows? But this guy too, apparently you can look up the YouTube, like one of the witnesses goes on and does this whole YouTube video. And like, I swear to God, like we weren't on drugs. We weren't drinking like this. We would not make this up. It's not a hoax. So I don't know, you guys, they're coming. They're coming.
We'd love to hear some alien stories.
Yes, but I was going to say,
100%.
We do have an alien speak pipe story. Wait, don't yell yet. We do have I should have said we have a secret voicemail
we do?
about an alien
I didn't know that.
sighting.
Loving it.
So that's also kind of why I picked that. I was like, oh, that kind of goes in, the theme. And if you have, keep the paranormal stuff. We do love a good paranormal story. We love an alien UFO. At one point too, I was having some people send in that they thought they had been abducted by an alien before. If there's anyone out there who really does believe they were abducted by an alien or like have come into contact directly with an alien, we need to hear it. Actually, we would love to interview you. Yeah. We will fly you to Stanford. No, but we
over Zoom.
Need to find you or over Zoom. But so if you have a paranormal UFO, if you have anything weird, go to speakpipe.com/weird-and-proud-pod. Again, that's speak, speakpipe.com/weird-and-proud-pod. And it'll be in the description too, so you can just click on the link. And you got 1 minute and 30 seconds, but
here's the fastest way to do it. Just go to your Google search thing and type in speak pipe weird proud. It pops right up.
Okay,
the little link pops
right up. I don't know. That's risky.
I've tried it a few times.
Have you?
It works.
Or you could just click the link in the description.
Or that's easier.
Yeah. Whatever creams you're drinking. All right. James, are you ready?
Is it secrets time?
For the first secret.
I love secrets.
Time. It is that time. And this one we're going to start out with the paranormal story that was sent in. Here we go.
What up, James? What up, Sam? We love the Gape. So it was like 2013, 3 o'clock in the morning. I was with my sister, her boyfriend at the time, a couple of our friends. We had just gotten back from a night of partying at someone's house, and we were in the backyard, smoking a J, reflecting on the night, when all of a sudden, these 3 flashing lights hit. It was like flash, flash, flash. It was completely silent. It completely illuminated the backyard, the entire sky. It was like nothing any of us have ever experienced or seen before. After that, we all just kind of sat there in silence, looked around, and thought maybe it was time to end the night. Until this day, I'm convinced that a UFO was taking pictures of us. Anyway, love the pod.
So, I'm really curious where this was.
That was literally in my head. I'm like, I don't want you to have to give away something you don't want to.
Right. You
But
don't
I'd
have to
love
tell
to
us your
hear the
address.
state that you were, like,
Yeah.
what state of the country were
Imagine
you
he
in?
was like in Las Vegas. Oh, yeah.
Well,
A lot of stuff happens in that area.
Nevada,
Yeah.
New Mexico. There's two
It's kind of like Mars. The aliens feel at home.
military bases. It's military bases. That's where the majority of the sightings
and there's a lot of
seem to be.
sand, so they feel like they're on Mars. Aliens feel like they're at home in the desert. They told me.
That I believe you. Yeah, I believe you there.
You totally
I
believe
totally
me on
believe
that.
you.
But like that is, you always, again, it's like one of those things. You were partying. Were you that drunk? Maybe someone was taking a photo of you. Like if something is bright enough to brighten up the whole backyard, the whole sky 3 times in a row, but it's 3 a.m, like it's creepy.
Do you know what? You know why else I want to know where?
What?
You know where near us seems to have a high incident of sightings? They're reported.
What? Where?
Hudson Valley.
Really?
Hudson Valley in New York seems to have a highly reported amount of UFOs. Yeah, you didn't know that?
What? No, gotta check it out.
California, I think, is the number one state. I know around military bases is a big thing that people believe, but then Hudson Valley also.
What?
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. That's it's hard to explain. Like again, like how do you explain it? Unless again, it's like you would know like your own house, like if you're like in the backyard and you have like a lighthouse, like if there's like a light, or something that would naturally light it up. But if it was just randomly
all of a sudden
3,
taking
back
photos,
back, seems a little creepy. Yeah, I mean, at least you weren't taken, or maybe you were, and they
they just don't remember,
right? Because that's the other thing too. Like you could have been abducted at one point, but like aliens have the technology to zero.
I remember an old movie that I do remember getting scared of.
What?
And it was an alien movie about abduction, and now I have to think of the name of it. It's
recent?
Oh no,
old.
When I was young, so really old.
There was a movie.
Yeah,
where the
it was a
took
very graphic, like alien abduction and like alien probing scene. Like,
where they're like,
yeah.
What was one that we had just watched recently? Oh, the Key and Peele movie where they're like in
Nope.
Yes, the movie Nope. It's literally called Nope. It was pretty good. It wasn't like super.
Found it right away. Fire in the Sky.
Fire.
See that scene
when was
that he's doing
when was
right
that?
there?
1993.
1993.
Fire.
I remember, and I wasn't like a kid.
Yeah.
I was probably junior high, maybe a little older than junior high-ish at that time. You were 3. So I was junior high. But I distinctly remember the scene in that movie being really crazy.
Yeah.
Like the alien abduction scene. That was genuinely scary. Yep, I remember that one.
Wow. Yeah, they're it's scary to think about. It's one of those things where is it real? Is it not? I don't know, guys. All right. Thank you so much for calling in.
Great call.
Again,
hope you can follow up with those answers because we'd love to talk about it.
Yeah. If you've seen it again, like if there is something, that maybe could explain it, or
and where you were, more importantly,
where you were. All right, we got some good creepy ones this week. All right, I got another one. Here we go.
So on the conspiracy theories, have you ever heard of the Avril Lavigne theory that she actually died and they replaced her with a lookalike or cloned her or whatever the theory is? There's a talk about how her music and her style like slightly changed, but it was sudden. So I obviously found it ridiculous, but if you keep looking up things on the internet, it starts to convince you.
So I was playing this, and this made me think, because this has been like a big conspiracy too about Taylor Swift, or just like, or just people in general. Like it's funny how like I've seen some theories that like Donald Trump has a clone and Kanye West has a clone. Like there's just like theories out there that these really rich and powerful people are so rich and powerful. A lot of it is like they're in the Illuminati. They can.
Oh boy, here we
yeah,
go.
It gets really. It's a deep dark rabbit hole. They can basically pay to be cloned, and there can be two. So like, for people, obviously, Taylor Swift haters are going to be like, yeah, she doesn't really perform these 4-hour shows, like she has her clone do it.
Do people understand like how scientifically cloning works? Do they know?
James, but maybe like we're too poor to not know.
So here's my question.
The
aging process.
Right.
That clone would still have to naturally go through.
But maybe they just keep cloning them again over and over.
But here's what I mean. That clone would have to go through infancy, childhood, puberty, and grow up.
I don't know.
In other words, the timelines do not match.
Yeah, but like, these rich
Sorry, I'll
people,
let you have this one. Keep going.
James doesn't believe it. I do. What?
Basic science doesn't believe it.
I know. Well, there's this whole thing because Avril Lavigne, like, I don't know if you've seen pictures of her recently.
No.
But I don't know. Bet you would. But
on one of my sports shows, I do know this.
James only watches sports.
Oh, exactly. That's where I get my news. One of my sports shows, I guess she's single.
Oh.
Because the guy who's the sports host is actually a former musician. Oh, and yeah, he was like, I'll take you to the Super Bowl. What do you want me to do? Yeah, he was like screaming about it the other day. It was funny.
She just like hasn't aged. Like she looks exactly the same.
Well, that's different.
I know. Well, again, it's like when these people are that rich, it's like people can.
You have to think about it this way. If say she looked 20, they would have had to start the cloning process 20 years ago.
I don't know. Maybe it wasn't Dolly the sheep around 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, longer than that probably.
Yeah.
So they might have been like, make me one
made like
right
20
now.
Of them.
If they did then, that's fine. The Donald Trump thing, a little harder to believe. Taylor Swift easily could have fallen under that. Taylor Swift is younger than Taylor Swift has to be quite a bit younger than Avril Lavigne. Yeah.
She's 33. We were both born in 1989. I don't know if you know that.
Yes, I know that. But I mean, no, I didn't know that.
There is also a theory that Taylor Swift is Satan reincarnated. And there was this old...
As we discussed on a previous soundtrack, Lucifer was an Lucifer was an archangel, so it's possible.
Well, there was like this this satanic leader that like looks a lot like Taylor Swift. That was, I don't even know. People send me crazy.
She's got a great cult following.
Well, that, and that they think that like she's at her concert, she's performing like Satan worshiping, and like we're all like being mesmerized.
Oh, now I'm a little more scared. Now I worry when
Do you feel like Satan took over.
When she calls to, I'm just worried what happened to you. When she calls you to action, I don't know what's going to happen to me.
I know. Well, that's exactly.
Oh boy.
So something to think about. Yeah, there's a lot of theories out there. I believe it. James might need some more convincing, but I think, hey, listen, I want to be like, wouldn't that be amazing though? That you could be like that rich and powerful that you could have clones of you. You could just be like, yeah, you send out, you do the work. That's what's gonna be AI. Like AI is gonna be like a digital clone.
You want to know a great 90s movie about that?
What?
Multiplicity, starring Michael Keaton.
Saw it.
Multiplicity, great movie, hilarious.
We watched it in my physics class.
Did you really? In Multiplicity?
In high school.
Multiplicity, great movie.
You already had a 9-to-5 job and wife and kids.
Put that on the list. Yeah, pretty much. I was in my second marriage.
Anyways, thank you so much for calling in.
That was great.
I love a good conspiracy theory. If you have a good conspiracy theory
in the realm of the aliens conspiracy, anything you got,
or like, again, like that is real, that there are people out there, James. Like I have one friend that is,
I know the Illuminati
off the
thing.
Richter.
She likes the Illuminati. That's okay.
She's big into the Illuminati.
I hope if she's listening, we adore her.
Of course.
And I've never challenged you on it, and I never will.
She watches a lot of YouTube. She's on Reddit.
I like to let people believe what they need to believe.
Exactly. Whatever makes her happy.
Till they ask my opinion for a third time.
Yeah.
I'll deny the first two. I'll usually brush it off.
Yeah, say no. But she is deep in it, and she believes about these rich people have cloned themselves and have multiple clones.
I don't deny the existence of the Illuminati. They of course existed. It was a thing.
I know they're out there. If anyone wants to offer me a spot, I would love to just like go to a meeting and just like watch and just like see what you guys are up to. I won't tell anyone.
The closest you can probably get is the Masons in town.
Oh my God, we should go to the Masons and do like an undercover investigation.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. We should go there tonight.
I know a Mason.
Do you want to?
I don't think you can go there tonight.
You can't just like show up.
No. Remember we stayed across from that Masonic Lodge in Rhode Island.
Oh my God, yeah.
We were in Rhode Island and there was a Masonic Lodge across the street.
If you're in the Masoneries, what's it called?
The Masons.
The Masons. Masoneries. That was one other thing too. I had some people, you know, when I had done this weird secret, someone was like, my dad was a Mason.
They've done a lot of great things for the world.
Well, I was gonna say they're obviously, and
it's the
joking.
movies that everyone's like, oh my God.
Yeah, like we know that it's more like a frat.
You want another frat movie? And I don't know if this is the 90s. This might be actually 2000s. Skull and Bones.
Right, classic.
Based on a real society. Yep. It is. And then they just elaborated a little bit.
Yeah.
What is it? Ryan Phillippe and Joshua Jackson, I think, are the two actors.
Oh my God, Ryan Phillippe. I used to be obsessed with him.
Loved Ryan Phillippe.
Yeah.
I did too.
So hot. All right. Anyways.
Cruel Intentions. We'll have to watch that too.
Cruel Intentions. Add it to the little list. Is that 90s?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's got to be.
Wow.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Movies, honestly, knock it out of the park.
Now everyone could say, "Oh, the '60s, oh, the '50s with Hitchcock." 90s might be the best genre of movies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're missing out on Anchorman. You're missing out on Super Troopers, but the '90s, really
classic family movies. All right, are you ready for the next voicemail?
Yep.
Hey guys, thought this was a good place to share this story. So when my daughter was little and I was still with her dad, he was just always a jerk to me while I was in the shower and liked to throw like cold water on me and just be a jerk. So I was going to the bathroom one day while he was in the shower and he was being rude and just being a jerk. So naturally, I pulled my used tampon out and dangled it over the shower and acted like I was gonna throw it at him. I've never heard a grown man be so terrified in his life, and he never fucked with me in the shower again.
What I think is... Are you going to clap? Yeah. You know, some people just need to learn their lesson the hard way. And I still, like... This is one of the reasons that I love you so much, is that you are just not grossed out. And I feel like it's because you were a bio major and your parents were in the medical field. And
well, actually, I used to gut deer when I was 12 years old too.
Ew.
What? When I was a hunter. Sorry.
Aww.
They're
R.I.P.
They're delicious.
Aw, James. So some men are just still like so grossed out by periods.
Are they?
Not even grossed out, but just don't know. Like, you know, I always see those videos where it's like, you know, where do you put a tampon? How does a tampon work? Can you pee with a tampon in? And some men are, you know, just have literally no idea. Like, it always just blows my mind. But I don't know if I would.
I'm genuinely.
I would be a little conscious about having my tampon out in the air.
I believe. I mean, I think what woman wouldn't, right? It's kind of like you're supposed to hide that from people.
Would you put your butt plug out?
Aren't you taught to? Jeez, aren't you taught to like hide that from people your whole life?
You are
not supposed to talk about it. No one's supposed to discuss it.
I remember one time I was in the shower and I took my tampon out in the shower and I like put it on the base. This was like back in when I was like in, you know, high school, back when I was living. And my brothers walked in and like flipped out.
Oh.
And I just remember I was so embarrassed.
I'll bet. Oh my God.
You know, like
especially
I don't even know
at that age.
My brothers. Yeah, but it was like for them to like see like my
you're not supposed to show or talk to anyone about that.
Yeah, that was right. It was just, but like, you know, if someone deserves it, like if you know,
I applaud her. That's a great idea. That's a phenomenal idea.
In your face.
Like,
but you wouldn't even be grossed out. You'd be like, "Wow, you've got a nice flow."
Yeah. probably smell it.
James, you sicko. You're sick. Yeah, I applaud you for getting him back.
Literally, we applaud you.
Literally. And listen, you didn't touch him with it. Sometimes you just
Should
need
have.
to.
Should have smacked him right in the
Should
forehead.
have made him lick it. It's sick. It's twisted. But that's one way to get him to stop doing that. And
hopefully we've inspired some other women to not allow themselves to be
yeah,
bullied
that'll
by
put an
using
end to it.
Why don't you use the weapons that God gave you?
Exactly. 'Cause
bloody tampons.
pretty much for any other guy, I feel like other than James, if you were to dangle a used tampon from the
Smack
face,
him in the
or
forehead
just,
with it. Yeah.
Like you're gonna whip him with it.
If you really want to
that'll
get him, go for his genitals, guy. We
Yeah,
don't
hit
like
him in the
stuff
balls
near.
with
We don't like
your used
stuff
tampon.
near that part. Our parts.
Your parts. Love it. That's a great story. Thank you so much for calling in. And I thought we needed to end on a little bit of a little funny one, a little regular.
We kind of had calls
secret.
all over the place.
I know,
was
and I was trying to stick with some of the paranormal ones. I'd gotten some paranormal, so we were talking about aliens. But if you got any sort of weird secret, you got paranormal, alien,
tampon
smacking, or again too, we had mentioned if you need some advice, from James can give some great advice for you.
I love giving advice.
Or if you have a conspiracy theory, I mean anything weird, you guys know to call us in at
SpeakPipe.
That's speakpipe.com/weird-and-proud-pod. Again, speakpipe.com/weird-and-proud-pod. Make sure you're in a quiet spot and try and keep it. There's one a couple people with like 3 or 4 parts, try and summarize it. But I love you regardless.
We do love you.
And we thank you guys so much for the support, for the love. Make sure that you are following us on Instagram at Weird and Proud Pod. Also, would love to try and get some of the reviews up on Apple and Spotify. So if you get a chance, if you're thinking of it, if you're not driving, hit that 5-star. Write. I love Jan forever. If you can't think of something to write, because you have to write a comment with it.
We think you're 5-star. We'd love to find out if you think we are 5-star.
And you know what? I heard another podcast saying that, and I was like, this is a great way of putting this. That obviously we put this out for free. We're still, this is actually episode number 21, which is very exciting. We were over 20, but it's free, and this is, doing a 5-star, hitting that 5-star is like, it's like a tip. It's like if you went to, the waitress and you didn't give her a tip, like the 5-star would be like a tip.
It'd be a great tip.
Give us your tip, just the tip.
I got a tip for everyone
Give
out
us
there.
a tip. What do you got? What's your tip?
If use your blinker when you're driving.
Wow.
Use your
James,
blinker.
You said you were going to mention that today.
I said I'm going to start. That's my sign off at the end of the podcast.
Use your blinker.
I thought I'd work it in early to let everyone know when I say use your blinker.
Yeah.
Now that you're a regular listener, a new listener will be like, what's that mean?
Right.
But since you've listened regularly, you'll know. Like, I'm just a big advocate of use your damn blinker when you're driving.
Yeah. James
it's not hard.
Angry.
And it's nice.
Old man.
It's good to do.
It is. It is good. It's considerate. All right. We love you guys so much. Thank you again for the support, for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Love you guys.
Love you,
Bye, weirdos.
Bye.